I couldn't pretend anymore. I stopped asking polite questions and started paying attention with purpose. Ethan was on edge, avoiding me. Rachel acted as if nothing happened. She came over 2 days later with takeout, smiling like she hadn't just destroyed the core of my family. I didn't touch the food. I didn't even sit down. I just watched her, waiting for her to slip. She didn't. That night, she left her phone charging in the kitchen while she helped Ethan with something in the garage. I opened her messages. I wasn't looking for an excuse. I was searching for confirmation. And there it was, thread after thread between her and Ethan. Flirtation, manipulation, full of coded language and private jokes, voice notes, photos, promises. She said she'd never felt this alive before. She called him her escape. I felt sick. I confronted Ethan the next morning. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I asked him if there was something he needed to tell me. He looked at me like he wanted to speak, but fear swallowed his voice. When I said Rachel's name, he stiffened. That was all the answer I needed. He whispered that it wasn't what I thought. He said it started with talking, then kissing. He said she understood him, that she listened. He was convinced it wasn't wrong. I told Daniel everything. His face didn't change, just a long exhale. Then he admitted he already knew. Months ago, he came home early from a trip and saw them together, not touching, but too close. He confronted Rachel, and she dismissed it as emotional confusion. He didn't tell me. He said he didn't want to break the family apart. He told me it would pass. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. My husband had known our son was being pulled into something dangerous, immoral, and did nothing. My best friend was grooming my child. My son believed he was in love, and I had been left in the dark by everyone. I found Rachel again. I told her I knew everything. She didn't deny it. She blamed me, said I was always distant, that Ethan came to her, not the other way around. She looked proud, like she'd done something noble. She said I was lucky someone finally made Ethan feel seen. In that moment, I felt something break. Not just trust, not just loyalty. It was deeper, something unspoken between a mother and her child. And I knew, whatever came next, there would be no going back. I reported her. I didn't ask for opinions. I didn't hesitate. It wasn't about revenge. It was about accountability. What Rachel did wasn't love. It was calculated, manipulative, criminal. Ethan was 19, but emotionally, he was still a boy searching for direction. And she used that, twisted it, made him think it was something beautiful when it was anything but. Detective Harper handled the case. When he came to the house, Ethan didn't say a word. He sat still, staring at the floor, the same way he did the night I saw them. Rachel was arrested within days. She denied nothing, said they were consenting adults. The texts told a different story. Her influence, her control, her careful planning. The law saw what I saw, a woman who took advantage of her access and trust. Ethan broke down when she was taken away. Not because he missed her, because the illusion shattered. He realized everything she told him was designed to make him dependent, confused, isolated. It was never about him. It was about power. He started therapy. I sat in every session, even when he didn't speak. I didn't want him to be alone in the silence again. Daniel filed for divorce a month later. He said he couldn't live with what had happened, or what he'd allowed to happen. I didn't stop him. There was nothing left to salvage. He chose silence when action was needed. That cost him everything. One morning, I found an envelope in my drawer. No name, just my handwriting, written by someone else. Inside was a letter from Rachel. She wrote it before her arrest. She didn't apologize. Not really. She said she never meant to hurt me, that she envied my bond with Ethan, that she felt invisible in her own life and found something real with him. She ended it by saying, "You see sin, I see connection." I burned the letter. I've learned betrayal doesn't always come wrapped in anger or malice. Sometimes it looks like a friend smiling across your kitchen table. Sometimes it sounds like your child saying he's happy when he's actually drowning. Infidelity isn't always about broken vows between husband and wife. Sometimes it's about the collapse of trust, the silence between people who should have protected each other. I'm still rebuilding. Ethan is healing. But some fractures never disappear. They just live with you, quietly, reminding you what it costs to ignore your instincts. I never imagined I'd be telling this story, especially not about the people I trusted most. My name is Claire. I'm a mother, a wife, and, until recently, I thought I was living a quiet, stable life. My husband Daniel and I have been married for 10 years. He's a regional manager for a logistics firm, which means long hours and frequent travel. I learned to live with his absence. I had my son, Ethan, from a previous relationship, and he was my world. Smart, reserved, a little intense, but always respectful. At least, that's what I believed. The first cracks appeared months ago. Daniel started working later than usual, taking trips on short notice. He said the company was expanding. I tried to believe him, but something felt off. Then Rachel, my best friend since college, started visiting more often. At first, I was grateful. She filled the silence Daniel left behind. She cooked with me, helped with laundry, made jokes to cheer me up. It didn't seem strange until it did. Ethan grew quieter around her. He avoided eye contact, stayed in his room more. When I asked if something was wrong, he shrugged it off. Teenagers withdraw, I told myself. Still, a part of me knew better. One night, I came downstairs after midnight to grab some water. I found Rachel alone in the kitchen, standing far too close to Ethan. She laughed a little too loudly. He didn't say much, just stared at the floor. I said nothing. Maybe it was harmless, I told myself. Over the next few weeks, I started noticing small things. Rachel's perfume on Ethan's hoodie, her lip balm in the bathroom drawer she never used before. I once caught Ethan sneaking downstairs at 2 a.m. When I asked him about it the next day, he brushed it off, said he was hungry. I wanted to believe him. Then came the whispers. Twice I woke up in the night to the sound of hushed voices. The first time, I thought it was the TV left on. The second time, I got up, but the living room was dark and empty. I couldn't shake the feeling something was wrong, but I didn't have proof. So I started writing everything down, times, dates, details. I wasn't sure what I was looking for, but I knew something was happening in my house that didn't make sense, something I wasn't supposed to see, something I was being protected from or lied to about. And the worst part? I felt like a stranger in my own home. Daniel was out of town again. He'd left that morning for a 4-day trip, said it was a leadership retreat. Rachel came over in the afternoon, uninvited but casual. She brought wine, saying we both needed to relax. I was tired, mentally drained from weeks of suspicion. I didn't have the energy to push her away. We ate dinner, she helped clean up, and we watched a movie. She kept glancing at her phone. Ethan didn't come down once. Around 10, I told Rachel I was heading to bed early. I'd taken some medication earlier. Nothing heavy, just something to help me sleep. She stayed in the living room, scrolling through her phone. I woke suddenly, hours later. The house was silent, too silent, the kind of silence that hums in your ears. My eyes adjusted to the dark. I wasn't sure why I woke up, until I heard a creak in the hallway. Footsteps, slow, careful. My door was cracked just enough for me to see through it. Ethan walked past, shirtless, focused. I heard him go downstairs. I should have gotten up. I should have followed. But I didn't. I waited. 5 minutes passed, then 10, then laughter, soft, muffled, but unmistakable. A woman's voice, Rachel's. I slipped out of bed and moved quietly to the top of the stairs. I stayed in the shadow, my breath caught in my chest. From the gap between the railing and the wall, I saw them, Ethan and Rachel seated close, knees touching, her hand on his thigh. His eyes locked on hers like he was starved for attention. She leaned in and kissed him. It wasn't accidental. It wasn't a mistake. It was deliberate. I felt my legs go numb. I backed away, one step at a time, until I was in my room again. I locked the door. My heart was racing. I stared at the wall for what felt like an hour. I couldn't cry. I couldn't scream. I didn't understand what I'd seen, and yet I understood exactly what it meant. This wasn't just betrayal. It was twisted, wrong on every level, and it had been happening right under my roof while I slept. I lay awake until the sun came up, replaying everything in my head. My best friend, my son, my silence. What kind of